Hey Disney cruisers, and welcome back to the DCL community. We are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise with and without some technical issues. Thank you guys for hanging on for a minute there. Gotta love live TV, right? But we are so excited today. We are doing a deep dive into two very popular private destinations. We've got Disney's private island and Royal Caribbean's private island. So we are going to be talking about each of those with the queen of cruising herself, Miss Crissi O'Kane. Crissi, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as people are coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. I am so excited for this presentation. I'm Crissi O'Kane, one of your recommended travel advisors here with DCL Community. I love being part of this community, and I'm so stoked for this presentation because we truly are discussing my two favorite places. Like, it's without a doubt my two favorite places. And a lot of my presentations and content for DCL Community have been kind of showing DCL cruisers what else is out there. And this time it's really a lot about showing kind of just how different they are. So we have a lot of comments about this, about people's opinions. And I've really
Yes.
tried to create a post or a presentation that's not opinions. It's purely just facts that this one has this and this one has that.
Yeah.
And that can really help cruisers make an informed decision because there are a lot of very similar itineraries. When you look at those 3 and 4 night Royal calls them short Caribbeans. Disney calls them Bahamas sailings. They're the same itinerary, right? It's Nassau, a sea day if it's a 4 night, and their private island. So really, that private island day, that's a third of your cruise. Like, it's a big, big part of making the right decision for your family. So let's talk and make sure that we're making the right decision.
Oh, I love that. And if you guys want to start planning your cruise vacation, your parks vacation, whatever it is, reach out to Crissi. That's the link to her page on the DCL community site. And I will get this in the comments for everybody as well. But her planning services are 100% free for you to use. So reach out to her, let her be that resource in your planning so that when you're trying to weigh the pros and the cons, I don't even know if there are really any cons about either of these places. They're
Yeah.
both yeah. Oh, okay. We're gonna get into it. I'm
Oh
excited.
yeah. Yeah.
But I'm excited to learn more. I know I've never been on a Royal Caribbean cruise. It's definitely on the list. I know, I know. So I'm excited to learn more with you. But if you have any questions as we're going through, please let us know. Put them in the comments, and then of course you can always reach out to Crissi to start your planning. But let's go ahead and let's get started on comparing these two destinations.
Yeah, so I really wanted to highlight that these are truly the best of the best, right? So objectively, not even just my personal opinion, these two are like kind of always duking it out for which is voted as the best cruise line private destination, right? Almost every year, some magazines choose Perfect Day, some magazines choose Castaway, but the other options provided by other cruise lines are almost never in that top spot. These are truly the two that are fighting it for the top spot. And there's reasons for that. But they really are consistently in the top of the entire cruise industry, and both have elements that I love, both for myself personally and also for my clients, that the other one doesn't have, both of them. So I truly think that, like, if I were to design my own perfect cruise line private destinations, which, like I said in my intro, this is an essential part of your trip, especially if you're doing one of those short Caribbean sailings on any cruise line. Cruise line private destinations are becoming a huge part of your trip. If I could design my own, it would have elements from both.
Ooh.
Because they both really have neat things. So I decided to kind of make a presentation that's not my opinion. It's purely objective. This is what each has to offer that the other one doesn't. But before I kind of get into that, I do want to clarify that both of these are amazing private destinations. Castaway is completely exclusive to Disney Cruise Line. CocoCay is a little bit different. It is primarily Royal Caribbean, but there are some celebrity ships that get to visit CocoCay as well, as Celebrity
Ooh.
is affiliated with Royal Caribbean. So sometimes you'll be docked with one of the few Celebrity ships that's the ones that are sailing out of Fort Lauderdale. And that can be a great advantage for those Celebrity sailings. It brings them to really neat and unique private destinations. So that's something to consider. But they both have included beaches, included food, included activities for all ages. They both have some activities that cost extra. Royal Caribbean gets a lot of feedback for that, but Disney's got them too. Um, and then they both have excellent dining options. They both have included beverages, depending on, all the same beverages that are included on the cruise line are also included on the private island. Um, they both have optional cabanas. They both have a lot of the same things. So all of those things, like tons and tons of sports courts and like outdoor activities, they've both got that. But we're really going to focus on the differences, on what one has that the other doesn't. So if you don't hear me mention something, it's because they both have it. So it's irrelevant.
Beautiful. Okay, that makes perfect sense. And someone's asking, do all cruise lines have private islands?
At this time, all of the what we consider mainstream cruise lines do. Carnival has a couple. MSC just built theirs. So they all do. Some, Carnival Corporation will also share that with Princess as well. And Princess has one called Princess Keys, but some of the Carnival ships will visit there. So, so yes, at this time, all of the kind of mainstream ships do. Smaller brands don't, but that's really not part of their general product. So no.
Got it. Okay, good to know.
All right, so here is a list of things that are only at Perfect Day, right? This is something that Castaway does not offer. And if you can see on this map, this is a big difference. So Castaway, the island is 1,000 acres. However, only 55 acres of that is developed. So Castaway could expand at any time. We could be changing those numbers at any time. But as of right now, Castaway is 55 acres of public access. CocoCay is 125. So it's almost 3 times the size that is available to the public. Which is huge. But one of the things that I think that CocoCay offers that Castaway doesn't is like kind of a halfway between the cabanas and like just being at the beach. This kind of areas with exclusive access. So you do pay extra, and there are 2 areas that you pay extra to visit, and that is the this like oval on the that's surrounded by the forest, and that
Got
is
it.
the Hideaway. Yeah, no,
Okay.
all the way up over, Rebecca, over
Oh,
that one.
over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
that is the Hideaway, and this is generally like a like 50-ish up charge per person, and this is adults only. Um,
Ooh,
and that gives you extremely low crowds. So yes, Castaway has an adults only section, but it's available to any adult, right? This is an area that's reserved to adults that are willing to pay for an adults only experience and have reduced crowds. And this is a very different environment than Serenity Bay. This is a party. And this is
ooh.
a fun option. And again, it's this idea of like this kind of like almost like having a concierge level at your private island where you can have your exclusive area, your exclusive dining options, right? The Hideaway has its own restaurants, its own pool, its own beach, and its own entertainment, party in the pool, party, live bands. There's a pool table and a shuffleboard, all kinds of stuff over there. And then the
Wow.
other area is kind of on the opposite side, and that's called the Coco Beach Club. And this is for all ages, but it is designed to be more tranquil, calm, and upscale. And it is near where they have these floating cabanas at the top. And the cabanas are an additional charge. There are floating cabanas over the ocean, which Castaway at this time does not have. But then there are cabanas very similar to what Castaway offers as well, scattered at all of the beaches have cabanas, as well as the center area has cabanas too. But having those areas that you can pay for exclusivity, I think is something that I personally would really like to have at Castaway, an area that I can feel like I'm a VIP, but it's not, just for concierge or just for suite guests. It's an area that anybody can pay to have like exclusive access.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's so interesting. I love that idea.
And then the Thrill Water Park. This does cost extra, but not all of it. So the areas that are included are when you first walk in, which I think that's essential. So parents, when you first walk in with your kids, the first thing they see is this big, like pirate ship, and that's called Jack's Galleon, and that is included. And it's like a water park designed for ages like 4 to 10, and it's a ship that they can climb on and jump on and splash on and all kinds of stuff, totally included. And then right behind it is Splashaway Bay, which is like a really, really big splash pad, totally included. But then the Thrill Water Park, which has the Daredevil's Tower slides, and then the slides behind it and the Adventure Pool and Wave Pool are a surcharge. But believe me, if DCL had a water park, they would charge extra for it too at this
Yeah.
level. There's some excursions that Castaway doesn't have, like swimming with pigs. There's also a floating bar. You can kind of see it. It kind of blends in with the cabanas at the top, but out there by South Beach, you have to swim out in the ocean, and then there's a bar out there. So right, yeah, that guy,
Ooh,
that's a bar. Pretty cool.
interesting.
It has a zip line. And then it has the up and away balloon. And this is, I put an asterisk next to this because this isn't all of the commercials for CocoCay. It's this big feature. But I do caution my guests that it is almost never actually available to book due to weather concerns and wind. So, like, you should not plan your visit to CocoCay because of the balloon. Just a note.
Interesting. Okay.
It has in testing right now for you're just beginning in mid-August. They pulled it from advanced reservations. If you already reserved in advance, your reservation stands, but it's no longer available to reserve in advance. It will only be available on site that day by the hour. So, like at 9 o'clock, you can reserve it for the next hour with it, but wind and weather changes so frequently in the Caribbean that it's just really hard to run this reliably and predictably. So, it might just become a pretty
Interesting.
feature. Um,
Okay.
and then the last thing that I listed is Oasis Lagoon, and we can just go to the next slide.
Okay.
This
Beautiful. And
this
somebody's
is
asking, is the
oh,
water
yes.
park for all ages?
Yes and no. Technically, it is. They say yes. However, I would say that if you're going to be taking young children, they need to be like high thrill level young children. These are not your calm, peaceful magic slides.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
they're-
Good. Yes.
mhm.
Good to know. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
so
Uh,
Oasis Lagoon just needs its own page. I've talked with Rebecca about this before. Anybody that talks to me about Castaway knows, or when we talked about Lighthouse Point, how devastated I was that it didn't get a pool. The fact that Castaway doesn't have a pool, like just this is my hill I will die on. Like it is not the perfect private island until it has a pool. It can't be. And this is why
Yes.
this picture of me is why this is what I need if I'm going to have a private destination. Or yeah, if I could design my own private destination, it has to have a pool. And yes, there are pools on the ship. Yes. But they are small. There are usually slides that go into them. Like it is not the same. And this pool is enormous. It has a 0-degree entry area, and it's totally included. Pool is included. It has a bar that you can swim right up to if you have a beverage package on board. Royal Caribbean does beverages differently than Disney Cruise Line. And Rebecca and I have a previous video all about that. But your beverage package also works at this bar and all the other bars on the island as well. So you can enjoy that. There's like seats like in the pool, so you can be cooled down while relaxing. It's lovely. And then there are these like forests in the middle of the pool. So it just never like appears visually as big as it is or as crowded as it is, because there's always like forest right in front of you. So you can see from my view, like I'm looking at the forest. I'm not looking at this enormous pool. So it's just so tranquil. It
Interesting.
just gives you that option of like, I can have beach time and then I can have pool time and then I can like, there's so many different options on board
Yeah.
or on shore at CocoCay that I just think that
Yes.
Oasis Lagoon really just needs its own page, because if Castaway just had Oasis Lagoon, I would say it would really elevate its game and be consistently number one across the industry, but it does not at this time.
Yes, I totally agree with you, especially on those days. I know we have been at Castaway a few times when the weather hasn't quite been warm enough, and if they could have a giant pool that people
Yes.
could swim in and,
Yes.
water wasn't a concern, I think it would boost sales in those
Oh
colder
my
months
gosh,
too.
totally.
So
Totally.
I am with you 100%.
Yes.
Team, get Castaway a pool, one for the adults, one for the families.
Mhm.
I think we should maybe design our own private island and just
Yes,
pick
we
one.
should. Let's do it. Also, I will take submissions. So if anybody wants to like email me plans for their own private island, like I'm here, I'm yours. We have a couple questions that I'm seeing in the chat. Do I find
Yeah.
it worth it to go to CocoCay when there are 2 ship stocks? Absolutely. That is pretty standard operating procedure for Royal Caribbean at this time. You will rarely ever see a day when just one ship is docked. They used to only dock Icon by itself in its first several sailings when it was full capacity. But that has changed. Their island supports multiple ships. It supports 2 ships, no problem. I've done this island many times, and sure, is it fun when you're the only ship there? Yeah, but usually you're on a ship that's so big anyway. It really doesn't feel any different. Like it's not an issue. And then I mentioned about how Disney cruises have characters. We're gonna get to Castaway next, before Castaway has that
That has
CocoCay does not.
yes. And someone's asking, when do you buy water park tickets for before the cruise or after or when you're on it?
So with Royal, unlike Disney Cruise Line where you have an assigned booking date, as soon as you have a deposit on your cruise, even if it's not paid in full, as soon as you have a deposit, you can log into your cruise planner and purchase extra activities, things like shore excursions, onboard entertainments, beverage packages, Wi-Fi, all that stuff. You don't have to wait till your activity booking date. And you definitely want to book early, as soon as possible. The Thrill Island, it depends on what ship you're on and also what sailing, like sailings that are highly like during the summer, it will sell out.
Good
Sailings are
to
in like the
know.
middle of school year, like non-conducive with school breaks. It doesn't always sell out. But you do want to book in advance. And the great thing about Royal Caribbean is that they are fully refundable. So if you buy them and then the price goes down later, you can always refund it and buy it again at the lower price point.
Love that. And somebody else is saying, this all sounds great, but what's actually included? What don't I have to pay extra for? And it's,
Sure. So let's click back a couple of slides to the map because
yeah,
almost all
absolutely.
of it is actually included.
Love it.
Really, truly, of the things that I listed, Oasis Lagoon is included, and then all of the beaches are included. The pool is included, all of the beaches are included, all of the food is included with the exception of the food stand that's inside the beach club and the hideaway. They have their own food stands, but if you purchased access to listen to me now. If you purchased access to that area, then that food would be included with your purchase as well.
Love it.
So truly, and the tram is included. All of the things at Castaway that are included, except for Serenity Bay. That is an included item at Castaway. That is not like their adults only area. At Royal is nothing like Serenity Bay. You can't really compare the two, but Royal does not have an included adults only area. So truly, everything's included really, except for those two kind of extra access areas, the shore excursions, which are not included on Castaway either, and the slides part, which is called Daredevil's Tower, the center tower of the slides, and the wave pool area. Everything else is included at Royal, almost all of it.
Beautiful. So those chairs, umbrellas,
Chairs,
towels, don't have to
umbrellas,
worry.
beach, all of that is included. All the food, that
That
it's all included, just like on Castaway. Same deal.
beautiful. And someone's asking how much are water park tickets?
Will vary based on price of sailing. I've seen it as low as 45 per person. I've seen it as high as 149 a person.
Okay.
Most Royal Caribbean ships have water slides. There is one at present that does not, which is the Allure of the Seas. When that goes into being amplified, is what they call it, it will. At this time, it doesn't. So whenever that ship is docked, you always see those prices higher since it doesn't have
Okay.
water slides on board. So that's the ship that gets the 149. Otherwise, you're looking closer to the like lower hundreds usually on
That
most
is
sailings.
awesome. Good to know. Should we flip ahead to
Yeah.
Castaway?
Now we can go to
Yeah.
Castaway. So yes, so these are things that are only at Castaway, and it's meaning there's plenty of amazing things at Castaway, but these are things that Royal Caribbean does not have. So Pelican Plunge, right? The slide into the ocean. They don't have that. Like of all the things that they have at Royal Caribbean, they don't have this. It blows my mind that this wasn't invented and put there. It blows my mind that we don't have an ocean slide in the like kind of family beach. There's slides everywhere. There are ocean slides on the cabanas, the floating cabanas, but those are not available to everybody. So it's not the same thing.
Got it.
Themed snorkeling. Okay, this is like the thing. There's snorkeling on CocoCay and most every private island, but nobody else except Disney thought to sink things to like go look at when you're snorkeling. And it's one
Yeah.
of the things that my clients are always telling me was like their favorite part of Castaway was like what they discovered and the reefs and the Prince Eric statue and the Minnie Mouse statue and the sunken ship and the submarine and like of course I picked the Dumbo picture. I don't think that one's actually been mentioned, but anyway. So that is something that people always mention. And then I see a comment too about characters. I didn't include that. Royal technically does have entertainment, and they would say that's the same thing. It's not. It's not. It's not like having a Bahamas themed dancer is not the same thing as Mickey Mouse. But technically, they do both have entertainment opportunities and characters that you can pose with. So technically they would say that they do have a counterpart to having characters, but it's not the same thing. I am there with you.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that most cruise lines just don't even try to compete with Disney with. It's not, the only way to compete is to just not.
Yeah.
But then massages. Okay, so now here, this is a fun fact that this actually, prior to Royal Caribbean's island becoming Perfect Day, it was previously their own private destination. It was just like a kind of like a Castaway. It was kind of just a beach, but it had beachside massages. And then when it became Perfect Day, it doesn't anymore. Okay. And that I think is like such a fail because this is my favorite part of Castaway. My favorite. Absolutely. So maybe this is my personal grudge. I don't know. But I don't know if this
I
is just
love
like,
it.
I don't see this as being that important to my clients as it is to me. So
Yeah.
like I don't have clients complaining that there's not massages on CocoCay, but I'm complaining. Um, the bigger thing that clients complain about is Scuttle's Cove. That, or they don't complain about Scuttle's Cove, they complain about there not being that option. So having childcare programming actually on the beach is an amazing feature of Castaway. This is something that is, as far as I know, exclusive to Castaway. I don't actually know that I've seen it on MSC or Carnival either at this time. At this time, that's essential. And that's an awesome opportunity for parents that want to be able to have their alone time on the beach, and also for kids that want to play with other kids. My husband was talking to me about this, that he cruised all the time as a child, but he was an only child. And so he was like, man, they always cruise Princess. So they never had a place for me to go to the beach with other kids. Like I might actually like it if I could have done that.
Yeah.
Um, and so this is something that I really do wish that other cruise lines offered. Royal does have their Adventure Ocean running during it when the ship is docked at Perfect Day. So if parents want to go to the beach by themselves, they can, but the kids will have to stay on board in Adventure Ocean programming.
Okay.
Um, and then that stingray excursion, it's so nice the way they do it at Castaway. I love it. It's great options for everybody in the family to get to see some animals in a very safe, very welcoming environment. Really love that.
Yes.
And that's not offered at Perfect Day. And then this is just kind of a general overall disclaimer that the fact that it's 55 acres as opposed to 125 can be an asset. Like you truly can see everything that's publicly accessible. If you wanted to do the lookout tower, you're going to need to really, really hike or rent a bike.
Yeah.
But you can see everything, do everything on Castaway without wearing yourself down and without needing a second visit. CocoCay is very different. You could see everything. You'd be exhausted. I don't know if you'd get a lot of value out of it. A lot of the beaches are essentially the same, just kind of different views. But you'd be really worn out. And a better strategy is to kind of pick a home base. So most of my clients pick like Chill Island or the Thrill Water Park or the South Beach. And like, that's where they stay. They don't try to do the whole island at once. And sometimes people feel like, man, I went to this whole island and I only saw a quarter of it. And some people are like, I only needed a quarter of that island. So, that's a benefit to Castaway, that you can really feel like you got there and you did everything and it was a lovely day and there's nothing you missed out on.
Yes, it's so true. You can very easily see it all.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, it's just the happiest of all of the happy
So
places.
happy.
And somebody's asking, what are the food options in both? Does one have better food than the other?
So this is really subjective, and we actually saw that a lot in the comments when Rebecca posted this event, that a lot of people liked the food on board Royal Caribbean more, which I find so intriguing because I've always felt the opposite, but that's just me personally. Food is very subjective. Both of them have multiple free dining options. We have the one in Serenity Bay for adults. We have the one at the Family Beach as well on Castaway. Royal Caribbeans are more scattered, but it's the same concept, that there's multiple food locations and they're scattered throughout the island, but they serve the same food. Royal does have, I did see that in the comments, and it is true that they do have a little bit more options going on as far as like small scale, like food trucks and stuff and like snacks to support their larger dining areas. But really, it's unless you are doing one of those kind of VIP areas, which I think are really cool. You're getting kind of the same standard beach food, beach hot dogs, beach hamburgers, beach chicken sandwiches, French fries, and fruit, that kind of a thing. You're not getting something that's super dynamically different on either line, unless you do one of Royal's other options where there's like filet mignon and lobster sandwiches at the Cocoa Beach Club. And then there's at the Hideaway, there's all kinds of different food that's more like food stations for adults. There's a pizza station that has a seafood pizza as well as a shrimp pizza, the seafood
Ooh.
pizza is the shrimp pizza, and also like a cheese pizza, pepperoni, like some standard ones, and then a barbecue chicken one and that seafood one that's so good. And then there's another stand that's more typical, like burgers and hot dogs and stuff. And then there's a taco stand too. So there's a lot of variety in there. So just having those kind of other areas that are more catered towards a specific dining lifestyle does, I think, give Royal Caribbean a slight advantage just for having more options. But as mentioned, you do have to pay to access those areas.
Got
Included food,
it.
though, it's really about the same. It's surprising that
Yeah.
people had such strong opinions on it.
I know, I know. If there's anything that people have opinions on, it's elevator buttons and food.
Very true. Yes. So these are the questions that I ask my clients because, like I said, it's subjective. Food is subjective, that kind of stuff. But here's how I ask my clients when we are debating, like the Wish versus Utopia. It's the same itinerary. Truly, they both leave from Port Canaveral Monday to Friday or Friday to Monday. It's the same thing. But it's a different ship and a different private island. So if we've already kind of decided that we can't decide on the ships, we like them both. Okay, let's talk about that private island. Do you like to plan your days in advance or do you like to let everything be casual? The truth is, you can do both at both destinations, but it's a lot easier to be casual at Castaway than it is at CocoCay. And it's a lot easier to
Right.
plan your day out at CocoCay than it is at Castaway because at Castaway, you're really planning like what time you're getting off the ship and maybe an excursion. But other than that, oh, and maybe I'm going to get up early enough to get that 5K in before it gets hot. Like that's kind of the extent of your planning, really.
Mhm.
Um, so with Royal, there are things that you can reserve in advance, so you just have that idea of structure. Versus, Castaway. It's some people don't love the like. I don't really know what we're gonna do today. We're just gonna kind of wing it. We're just some people don't love that. So there's that.
Yeah.
Are you good with being at the beach most of the day, or do you need other types of activities? And this is really a defining factor, right? That pool, it's essential, but there's a lot more going on. There's tennis courts. There's all kinds of things going on at Perfect Day that Castaway just really isn't about. Like it's really more about beach and beach family activities. And yes, there's a bike trail, but it's not like you're not gonna spend the whole day on the bike. It's a shorter trail. But that's really the only like activity that Disney promotes that's not on the beach. So I if you love the beach, Castaway is great for you. If you're like me and the beach is only good for about an hour for you, it's harder to make Castaway the perfect full time or full length day. And then, do
Yeah.
you want time on the beach without your children? And if so, are you okay with them staying on the ship in order to do that? And this can be the deal breaker for so many families. It's very surprising to me that this is the thing that gets them. And so, having that Scuttle Cove area is a major sell for Castaway over CocoCay. And it's an important question to ask because a lot of people, especially those that have cruised DCL before and been to Castaway, assume that that's a standard on every cruise line private island, and it is absolutely not. Castaway is the only one I know that has it.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would have assumed that just transferred to all cruise
Mhm.
lines is the kids club. But knowing Disney is Disney, that
Yeah,
makes sense that it's something that's a little bit more exclusive. And I'm going here and I'm like, gosh, I could go either way on some of these. I could spend all day at the
totally.
beach. I could go with the flow. So I
Mhm.
guess if you're kind of struggling through this, reach out to Crissi, let her help kind of guide you here because this is so individual. And I do see you with your ice cream cone there, and somebody did ask, is ice cream included?
Yes. So this is on the ship, but I don't know. I just tried to find a fun picture of this is what I look like almost every day. I don't spend every day on a cruise ship, but I do have soft serve ice cream almost every day.
I love
If I
that.
hit my sales goals for the day, I get to have ice cream. So it's
I
that's
love
my
that.
life. But anyway, so this is just me asking questions. But yes, ice cream is included. So yeah,
Oh,
have at it.
yes. Oh my gosh, I
Both
love
private
that so
islands have
much.
ice cream included.
Yes, and somebody saying rain is normally included at Castaway too, which is hilarious because it does rain.
Mhm.
I assume it's the
Yeah,
same way with both
it's the
of
same.
them.
Yeah.
Yes, weather cannot be controlled. You gotta make the
Mhm.
best of it.
Oh,
Oh,
what's
and
bonus
bonus
flight?
slide.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there are parts of Perfect Day and Castaway that I feel are essential to creating the best cruise on private island. And so Celebration Key is coming summer of 2025 from Carnival. And from everything that has been currently released, this does look like it is going to have all the things that I want for my personal perfect private island. So I'm very
Ooh.
excited to share that. It's coming in 2025. So as mentioned before, right, like Royal and Disney were basically the two that were always the top contenders, and other cruise lines were kind of copying one or the other, right? So MSC tried to copy Castaway. They made this beautiful nature preserve. It's beautiful. It's not Castaway, but it's beautiful. And then other cruise lines have been pursuing Carnival kind of, it looked like they were really pursuing the perfect day, but they made some announcements this Starfish Lagoon area that is really geared towards kids and families, and it will have on-site childcare. And then this Pearl Cove Beach Club, that's going to have that VIP, like, you can kind of have a private beach feeling. The only thing they haven't announced is the spa, but I just have this feeling that they're saving that for a later announcement. It's surprising that Royal took the spa away. This is a great revenue stream. Like, I don't know why it's not, like, why.
Yeah.
So I really do think that Celebration Key will have it all, but in order to access it, you will have to sail on Carnival. Just keep that in mind.
Ooh, okay. We might need to do a Carnival versus Disney
We might.
just for the
We might.
private island aspect of it.
Mhm.
I know I have some family that absolutely loves Carnival. I have only ever sailed with Disney. So that is something I know very little about Carnival other than Shaq is their spokesperson in their TV commercials. So that's something that we could definitely talk about more. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anybody's questions. I think we've gotten all of them, but I totally agree with you. I feel like Castaway has my heart. It always will. But there
Mhm.
are some things about CocoCay that
Yeah.
it makes me want to go and experience it. I have some coworkers who have been, and the cabana setup, the food, just how the
Mhm.
size of it, the fact
Yeah.
that it can accommodate 2 ships at once. That's something that Castaway is just never going to be able to
Mhm.
do. And somebody is asking, what about Lookout? How does it compare?
So they're Lookout and Castaway are very similar offerings. So it's really about the same as, when you're comparing the two of them. Lookout is still in development, so I don't think it's really fair to compare that. There are things coming and going from Lookout, new excursions being added, a lot of adjustments. And then Lookout is not a private island, right? It's a cruise line's private destination at a larger island. So again, it's not really a fair comparison because Disney doesn't have full executive control over everything at Lookout. So I don't think that it's quite the same to make that comparison. But if I was choosing one or the other, I think that I would follow the same decision-making process of, do I need more than Lookout doesn't have a pool either. That was the biggest shock to Crissi in my life that they made that announcement that Lookout wasn't going to have a pool. It's like, you have got to be kidding me. If there's one thing that has been proven, it's that private islands need pools. But okay,
Yes.
whatevs. I didn't expect them to have a water park, but I did expect them to have an included pool. Like that
No.
it's such a shock to me.
I'm
I'm still
telling
mad.
you, after the last couple batches of announcements, I'm like, if they could just let me design the ships and the
Yeah.
private islands, I think, send in your submissions. Let us know
Send
what you'd
in.
like to
Let's
see.
let's review,
Ye-
and then, we'll pool
Yes.
our resources. We'll start taking donations to buy an island,
Yes.
and then we'll customize it to the community's needs. It'll be great. And then we'll
Yes.
have to charter a ship to get there or something, but we'll figure all of those details out. That's why we
Yeah.
have vacation planners. So
Exactly. I love it. But if you are ready to plan your cruise, whether it's with Disney or Royal or any of the cruise lines, reach out to Crissi. As you can tell, she is so knowledgeable across the cruise lines and can really help your family or your group of friends, whoever you're traveling with, compare and contrast so that you can have the perfect Disney cruise vacation or any cruise vacation. And again, her plan and services are totally free for you to use. So reach out to her, let her be that resource in your planning so that you can focus on relaxing on some beach or maybe a pool and just enjoying your vacation. But Crissi, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we will see all y'all on board real soon. Bye, guys.
bye, guys.